Now to the local political front, where in the city of Austin, two men have completed their official first week in office. For Mayor Steve King, the adjustment comes with a learning curve, but he is a man who is well known throughout the community, and knowing who's who, which he does, is half the battle. Well, Mr. Mayor, how does it feel sitting in the seat that you are in, not in your work seat currently and literally, but being sworn in this week must have felt pretty good?
You know, it did feel pretty good, Betsy. It's certainly a bit overwhelming as well. Just trying to get my legs underneath me about some expectations that are required of the mayor. So it's a learning process this first week, but absolutely an honor to be sworn in.
And you're certainly no stranger to local politics, but being in this kind of authority is going to be different for you. The issues facing the city of Austin, I want to touch on healthcare, crime, but let's start with the most obvious, and that is the pandemic and what your role is going to be moving forward this year. A lot of people have high hopes.
Yeah, and it's been a challenging 10 months or so. I think the benefit of living in Austin has been our awareness for the people that we serve, whether it's at the county or at the city level. Also, the benevolence of our local businesses and partners out there in the corporate world. They have been very generous with donations to food shelves, donations to food every day for supplying lunches and dinners of those folks that shouldn't be or can't be out of their home, or certainly the ones that are compromised or elderly that need some assistance. Also through the federal government's CARES Act, the city has been generous in donating to those local businesses that have been impacted and continue to be impacted. And we're hopeful that we can not quite make them whole. We'd love to make them whole, but we're hoping that we make an impression that gets them through this pandemic, those most affected, such as the bars and restaurants.
Been following what's happening with our schools in this pandemic, hybrid, distance learning in the classroom. Where are things at within the school district there? We did some stories just this week.
You know, it surely makes you value teachers.
Amen. I agree with that completely.
At a level that we probably should have valued them earlier, but I have a 16 and 18-year-old, and I can't imagine having a child maybe in a first grade or a younger grade, to try to get that online process or even a hybrid. It just has to be maddening. So at this point, the schools will be going back to either we have our Pacelli Catholic School going back full time next week, and we have the Austin Public School System. I know going back to a kind of a 2-day on and online learning the rest of the week. For those kids that have been just online. We've, obviously fluctuated between a hybrid model and an online model and a fully in-person model. So we're hopeful that this next week we'll get those kids back into school for a good chunk of their time.
Continuing now with my conversation from this afternoon with the newly sworn-in mayor of Austin, Steve King. By profession, he leads the probation department and has been there for many years. So as we spoke about crime and law enforcement in his city, he's well versed on how things run. From education and kind of some feature stories that we have covered recently in Austin to some of the crime stories that have come out of Austin. Talk to me about your relationship with law enforcement, and do you have any plans or any changes that are coming?
You know, I would put our local law enforcement, both city PD and county deputies, at a level that's just hardly comparable to other areas. I think they're very well respected in the community. They're certainly very responsive to crime. And being in the criminal justice system myself as a director of probation, I've had the opportunity to work in 14 different counties through my 32 years. And the crime rate in Austin is no different than the crime rate in Winona or Faribault or any other like city. All we can do as a city is respond to it in a way that is responsive. And I think the events that were horrific in the past couple of weeks here in Austin certainly reflect that. We have a very strong police department, and including the Moore County Deputy and EMTs. All those people work collaboratively and work excellent to give a good response in a terrible situation.
And I always say how much I appreciate them because they are putting their lives on the line every single day, whether it's a small community or a metropolitan city. What about health care? We know that there have been some changes with the consolidation of the services from Mayo Health Systems.
Mayo Health System, which is also operating here in Austin, is doing an excellent job, the best they can, no doubt, with our testing and with rolling out a vaccine. I just happened to be at the hospital a couple days ago for just a routine checkup and was very, very impressed with how everything is seemingly moving along, and the response from the healthcare industry, Mayo in particular, is really top shelf.
Yeah, and I don't want to not touch on Hormel, such a vital piece to the community there in Austin and what they do. Wow, they do a lot of great things.
Yeah, what a great community partner, and they continue to give, and they're very innovative. I mean, that's one company that we are absolutely blessed to have, is Hormel Foods in our backyard, and to have them at a level of participation that they do, kudos to everybody that works there. It's just the leadership there under Jim Snee and prior to Jim, Jeff Edinger, has continued to be outstanding, and Austin has come to rely upon them. They seem to always come to the table with ideas and a helping hand, so we certainly appreciate it.
And helping the community financially so very much. That is so important. I've been wanting to connect with you ever since you got elected. I'm glad we were finally able to, and congratulations.
Well, thank you, Betsy. I appreciate it.